Hey everybody, welcome to God's Garage. You can find us on Facebook at God's Garage 2016, and also I've got a link on my blog, jamiegallium.com. Today I wanted to introduce you to a new project that we've got here at God's Garage. This is a generic Chinese import mini dune buggy. It's got a full suspension front and rear. This one in particular is a 250cc copy of a Honda scooter motor with an automatic constantly variable transmission. These machines are also available in 100cc up to 150. There's some 208s. They're still pretty popular now. The only thing about them though is on actual off-road use, they have some limitations. For instance, the transmission likes to shift into top gear really quickly, which hurts if you're trying to climb hills or anything. We've already modified this one with lighter rollers that make it upshift later, and also with a tighter downshift spring that makes it downshift quicker when you let off the fuel. But there are a few other things that this one needs done to it to really make it where you can go off-roading and play. We're going to be going to a local off-roading park called Stony Lonesome in Coleman, Alabama next week, and I wanted to address some safety issues and some drivability and reliability things on this buggy before we go. To address some of this stuff, I've ordered some parts. Everything I've got here is eBay or cheap Amazon. Of course, as you know, you have to be careful about that, because a lot of times you'll wind up getting junk. You'll get things that are look good, but they don't. And you know, it's kind of like in the Bible where God says that man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the inside. One example, I purchased the rear shocks on this buggy are actually completely shot to where the back end of the buggy is kind of uncontrollable when you get in ripples. So I did some research, and the rear shock is 15.5 inches tall, eye to eye. And I was able to find these RFY gas charge shocks. They have a nitrogen chamber here to replace the factory shocks. The problem is these, just like it talks about in the Bible, where something on the outside looks good, but on the inside it's terrible. These shocks look really, really good. But I put one on, and as you can see when I shook it, it made no difference. It shakes just like it did with the broken shocks. I took one apart and rebuilt it. Basically just took it apart and filled it correctly with fluid and made sure there wasn't any air in it. Made it work a lot better, and I'll be showing that in a video on how to do that. The next thing that we're looking at, well, Jesus is the light of the world. Well, my buggy is going to be the light of the trail. This is a 22-inch light bar, LED, 120 watt, pulls about 3 amps DC, but it's almost 6,000 lumens, which shining across the field, I can highlight the trees on the other side of my field, which is pretty darn bright. This thing was fairly inexpensive. Like I said, you can find them on eBay and Amazon. They come with the mounting brackets and all the associated hardware. Another thing that I'm going to do with the vehicle, you know, in the Bible it says, you know, basically what you take in, you got to be careful what you take in, because it's going to affect what comes out. Same thing with a buggy. You ride around in a buggy and no filter or a cheap filter, you're going to ruin the engine because of the dust inside of it. So what we've done is we've ordered this uni pod filter. It actually has 2 layers, and you coat that with oil, and then you coat this with oil. And the 2-layer thing is almost a necessity when you're going off-road because of the dust. As you ride during the day, the dust will cake up on the outer filter here, and what you can do is, if the vehicle starts to underperform because dust in the filter, you take the outer part off, shake that dust off, put it back on, you're ready to go again. In addition to changing out the filter, when you get more air in, you also have to get more fuel in. And so I ordered a set of pilot jets, and I've got an assortment of main jets here so that I can tune the carburetor to match the air going in. Now, the next thing that I wanted to address are the restraints. The original seat belts in these buggies are really nothing short of dangerous for two reasons. Number one, they're constantly loosening up while you ride because of the cheap way that the buckles are made. Number two, nobody wants to put them on because they're not really easily adjustable. So when you've got two different size people, for instance, I ride this buggy myself, my kids also like to ride it. The adjustments for the side belts are down here, almost underneath the buggy, and they're very hard to get to. So nobody takes the time to fix it before they ride because we're swapping back and forth. It's just not a good thing. It winds up being functionally dangerous because nobody wants to wear it. So what I did was I went again, Amazon, eBay, and I found these Tanaka belts. And the beauty of these belts, let me get a set that I've already got open. The beauty is twofold. Number one, this is, say, a lap belt. To tighten the lap belt, you just pull this and it tightens up. To get out, loosen it, you grab the red and it loosens. Makes it really easy to adjust so the kids won't be, foregoing the seat belts because they're hard to adjust. The other thing, this is actually a 5-point harness. This is a side belt. Another side belt goes here. Shoulder belt goes here, and then a crotch belt here to keep you from submarining under if you hit. And it's a cam lock. So you simply plug it in, all 5 sides, and when you need to get out, you pull that loose and you're free to go. So say for instance, on a buggy, number one, you should always have a fire extinguisher, which we will have on here. But number two, if you have a fire, you gotta be able to get out quickly. For instance, on this buggy, we actually have a seatbelt cutter. So at the very least, if you're not gonna get better seat belts, maybe you're the only one riding it, and when you get it adjusted, that's fine. At the very least, have a seatbelt cutter because the buckles on these are very cheap, and you're, especially riding around in the dust, it is very possible that you could end up getting stuck in the buggy on fire or something. Nobody wants that kind of thing. That's gonna do it for our modifications this round. And I'm hoping that that makes this buggy safer, a little more reliable, maybe a little more power with the jet kit and the filter, but definitely more fun, and that's what we're for.